Okay, a short video to show you how to work with packages. So what I decided to do is put my code into subfolders. You don't have to go all the way down to the roots of your directory, just where you want your code to start. So what I've done is I've created a folder called nim, which you can see right up there, and this is where I wanted to put all my code. Alright, so let's take a look at the Java files that are in there. I have two Java files in there, Game of Nim and Game of Nim Controller. Game of Nim is the one that does the command line game, and Game of Nim Controller is the one that does the GUI one. And then you can see two subfolders there, GUI and Logic. If I go into the GUI folder, you'll see the two classes that contain the GUI code. And if I go into Logic, you can see the code that is there that takes care of the logic of the game, basically. Alright, so I've shown you now where these files are inside of. As soon as you move it into packages, or if you divide your code over multiple folders, you have to indicate, in a sense, what folder it is. So if I look at ai.java, I've updated it. See that the very first line at the top there says package is nim.logic. So nim was the top level folder, and then underneath it I had the folder logic, and that is where ai.java is inside of. And this is the same for all of them, so I can show one more. If I do a more on piles.java, you'll see there at the top as well I have a nim.logic. The same is the case in all of the GUI classes. There's one other thing I want to show in here. So for example, Game of Nim Controller. Notice at the very top I have package nim, because there's no further subfolders there, but there's another thing that I had to do, and notice that there is two additional import statements here. I had to import nim.logic and nim.gui. Why did I need to do that? Is because I'm using the player class, I am using the piles class, I'm using the move class, and all of these are inside of that logic folder now. Since they're no longer in the same folder, I have to specify where to look for them. So they're in the package nim.logic, and I basically said import all the classes that are in that package. Similarly with the GUI, since I need to be able to create the frame, I also need to import those packages. Alright, so now how do we compile this? You have to be careful that you compile this in order. So the controller uses the logic classes. So I need to compile those before I can compile the controller. So I'm going all the way outside of my folder structure. So nim is the top level folder, so I want to be here where nim is sitting right there. So now I can start by compiling the logic classes by saying javac nim / logic, and now star.java. I'm just going to compile everything that is in there. And they were all compiled. I can do the same thing with the GUI code. Now one of them is going to have a problem, but let's first do the one that doesn't. So I can also compile now the one that is sitting, the controller that is sitting in there. Game of Nim Controller, which compiles. And now to run it, I still use the Java command, but the actual full name of the class is now nim dot. So I first specified the package Game of Nim Controller. And it allows me to play this game, so I can take a stone, take a lot of stones, and I'm going to lose because I'm taking the last stone, and the game is over. Now if I try to compile the other class, I'm going to get an error that I just want to illustrate. So if I do nim game of nim.java, I have an error here. It says that in game of nim I'm doing player.chooseMove, and it says chooseMove is not public, so I can't access it. So let's take a look at that file. Let's take a look at the file the player, that one that I'm interested in, because it doesn't say that choose move doesn't exist. It just says that choose move is not public. So I need to go into nym/logic, and let's open player.java. And notice that there is the choose move here, and I did not specify what the access should be. That means that by default it has package access, so you can only access this method if you're in the same package. But the class game of nym is not in this logic package, it's one up. So the only way that I could access this is if I make this method actually public. And then I have to recompile it. Logic, start.java. And now I can compile nym/game of nym.java, which should now work. So now it's happy, and I can run this one as well. I have to specify the package name. Okay, let's play at the easy level, give it my name. So here I can just play the game again. Let's take 2 from pile 1, and I now can take 1 from pile 1, etc. Okay. So just a basic example on how to organize your code over packages and compile the code once it is sitting inside of a package.